Um, but thank you all for joining us today for Women in Robotics. Ask Me Anything with Sanjuksha. How do you pronounce it correctly?
Sanjuksha.
Sanjuksha. And how about you give us a little bit of intro into your background and what you do, Sanjuksha?
So I am currently a robotics engineer in Symbotic. And I have done my bachelor's in mechanical engineering from India. And then I came here to do my master's in robotics engineering from Worcester Polytechnic Institute. I graduated in 2019, and since then I'm working in Symbotic. I also did my internship in Waypoint Robotics before that. So yeah, here I am, and it's really nice to actually meet some people from the community today. So ask away.
I'll go ahead and start. So what first brought you into robotics? Can you explain a little bit how you got interested and what your first experiences were?
Yeah, so I actually got interested in robotics way before, even in before my college. I was in high school, and this small team of college students came into our school, and they kind of introduced us a little about robotics. They made us make a small robot themselves, like a small mobile robot, remote controlled one, and that is how I got more intrigued into the field. Unfortunately, I did not find any robotics program at college level back then in India, so I decided to go for mechanical engineering. I was told that it was like the closest thing, but I think, yeah, I got more experience. Then I also participated in college Robocon team. Robocon is a robotics contest. It's Asia Pacific Bureau. So they have this national level robotics contest in which different college participates, and then the one who wins the national level represents their country in the global level. So I was fortunately a part of that for 2 to 3 years, I guess. And then I also got a small internship in India. It was artificial intelligence laboratory. They were a small startup back then, and I got a little more hands-on experience in robotics. And it was definite that I was doing my master's in robotics after that. So yeah, after that, I applied to a lot of universities, and that got me here. And I'm very happy that I actually did my master's in robotics. I absolutely love it. Sorry, Pranalika, we can't hear you yet.
Do you want to type your question into the chat? So the question is, what kind of projects were you involved with during Robocon?
Yeah, so Robocon basically gives you a theme every year. They tell you it's a competition, so two teams have to compete on the same theme. So first year when I participated in Robocon, we were having badminton playing robots. So basically we have to build two robots to play badminton against the opposite team's robot. Yeah, they were pretty cool. It was fun, to make, it's so easy for humans to play badminton like that, and then you have to make the robots do that. It's not an easy job. But it is so much fun. So that is what the first Robocon that I participated in had. And then the second one was a track that was it like it was similar to like an up and down kind of thing, a zigzag roads. And they named different parts of the track as hills, rivers, and bridges, something like that. And your robot had to do a line following algorithm to go through the entire track, and then the one who reaches first wins. And the last part of it was a pole climbing robot. That is also an interesting one because you have to climb a pole and put up a flag on the top. The team that does the first wins. So yeah, it was. I was more into the mechanical side because I was a mechanical engineer back then, but it was fun.
So for that, did you have to like travel to a location for a competition to like just like demo the robot and show whether it met all the program goals?
Yeah, so fortunately, both of the times when I was in RobCon, like both the years, the location was quite closer to my college in India. Unfortunately, we did not make it to the global level. But the globals were used to be like international competitions, used to be somewhere in, it did change every year, like depending on the team who won last year. I think so. It was in Vietnam that year, but yeah, I didn't get to go. Right. Yeah. But it was still fun. I think we were fifth in the national levels. So that
That's
was
pretty
a
good
good
for
experience.
a lot. It sounds like a large competition.
It is definitely, it's around 80 colleges like participating in there. So it was like nice. And in general, the vibe of young engineers trying to build something on their own and test these robotics, it's so inspiring. I used to also like teach school kids about robotics to get them more involved, yeah, into it. I can see Pranali's expressions. I'm trying to understand what she's saying. But yeah, it's really nice that these kids are and you can imagine like kids are so smart these days. Like they understand the smallest things and I kind of used to teach like fifth grade students to use Arduinos, which was pretty amazing because you cannot really expect a fifth grade kid to work on an Arduino, but they still did it. And I was so proud that I saw these things. We used to invite them to see these national level robotic competitions. So they look at college kids and they're like, oh, I want to do that too. So that is, I've seen so many kids like they don't even know what robotics is, and it's really sad because they are missing on this opportunity in life. So I just made it like a part-time volunteer experience of mine to go to schools and give them a small basic introductory course on robotics, make a few like small uh, robots like a small chassis with four motors and just drive them around. And that is how I try to get them more interested. I wish I could do that here too, but let's see.
Mhm. So we have another question. What is your favorite subfield or part of robotics?
um, that's that's pretty interesting actually. I have not figured out that yet. I mean, so I was just in working in the industry for like almost 2 years now, and right, I mean, I have taken a lot of courses like deep learning and computer vision. I also took motion planning, but I mean, these were pretty cool. I also did swarm robotics, which was one of the interesting ones. And But I have not figured out yet, like what is my favorite one. I'm still exploring. Maybe in a few more years, I can find out what I like more when I work on different kinds of things, and then I can decide what's my favorite. But right now, I think motion planning is pretty cool. I have not worked. I just had one project in it, so yeah. But that sounds pretty cool too.
Cool. And then I guess for your job, do you have a like focus area? What exactly do you do on a day-to-day basis for your job?
So currently my title is Advanced Controls Engineer uh, in robotics. So mostly what I do is have basic behaviors and features for mobile robotics. So that is what I develop, like how the robot behaves in a certain situations. since it's warehouse automation, it's a pick and place robot. We just have like a particular feature that you have to implement, and that is how I go through it, like using control algorithms or AI strategies, something like that. Unfortunately, I cannot talk much about like in details, but
Sounds cool. We have another question. In your opinion, why are there too few women in robotics? What are the existing challenges and how can we potentially help address them?
So I would like to tell you a pretty interesting story about this. In my college time, so starting with the Robocon competition, I was one of the two women at the time, or three in a team of 40 plus people. And yeah, so they were like, we were very few women back then, and I felt the same thing. Why are there so few females? Like, why can't more females be a part of this? And I used to see like somehow my female colleagues as well, they had a little less confidence compared to my male colleagues, thinking that I don't think this is my cup of tea, which is a big misunderstanding. It's no way you can think like this is not because you're a woman. It's not like that. And I think that as women in robotics, like you say, like the challenge is to tell these women out there that you can do it too. If a guy can do it, you can do it too. It's not nothing different. And so in my college time, there was, so I wanted to do my master's and I knew that I wanted to do it in robotics. So we had an elective. And I was the only person taking that elective in the entire college of like, I don't know, 1,000 students. I was the only one taking a robotics elective. And my college at the beginning kind of denied me because they're like, it's too hard to teach just one student. So unless you have like few more students, but then I tried to convince them and they were really nice that they let me take it. And they actually assigned me a professor who used to have like weekly classes with him. I used to have, and he was so supportive that he got me through it. And the next year and onwards, I made it sure like I tried to convince more girls that if if you like it, just give it a try. Like you don't have to stop yourself from going into the team because there are a lot of boys there, and you think you can do it. So the challenges is like I think my male colleagues were pretty nice to inspire these women to like encourage them that come like just get your hands on whatever you have questions, ask us, and just be confident that you can do it too. If any a guy can do it, you can do it. It's not a big deal. So that's the only thing that is stopping women, I guess. um, Other than that, I was fortunate that I did not ever face any such things that stopped me as a woman to get into robotics. I definitely feel if there is something that happens like that, women should come forward. But fortunately, I had not had those experiences. But yeah, that's more or less like I'm always up for helping in these situations. And that is one of the reasons I joined Women in Robotics, because I see like so few women currently. I think even like whenever I walk into a room with full of robotics engineers, I am like one of the, I guess, 1%, 2% people that are like women there. It's not a good view.
Yeah, I actually wanted to echo what you said, and like that was a really great point. And I also feel that's really cool, like to encourage women, especially when they're at college and there's like that competition. But also that would be a good idea to try to teach women when they are like in their K-12 education. So like teaching them the confidence as well as the skills that they need from early ages. that would also give them the opportunity to like be more to accept it much better and like be involved furthermore during the college and so on. But yeah, that was a great point. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah. And I think you're right about this thing that they should know at the younger age. Uh, and I think exposure to the technology is one of the things that is like when you go to a high school and you talk to kids over there, I'm sure guys would be more knowing about the whole robotics, and because they are into these things, and women are like deprived of that knowledge. Uh, so awareness is very important, outreach is very important. That is another thing that I really wanted to do, like to get out there and let these women know what's actually out here in the industry. Like because if you don't know, you never would be interested. You have to know that these things exist. And going to like fifth graders and sixth graders to show them, like, you know what, look at this. This is pretty cool. This is robotics. And I do it. So they're like, oh, she can do it. Maybe I can too. And that is how you try to make them interested in robotics. And then they have their own power to decide if they want to move ahead or not. But outreach is very much important in this thing, I think, because I didn't know a lot of stuff when I was young. And I feel if I would have known, I would have been more successful than I am today. So yeah, I got to know about robotics pretty late, other than like, I think my male colleagues back then, but I think, yeah, it was still very important.
It looks like we have another question going back to the topic of confidence. Do you have any tips on how to get started building your confidence up as working as a woman in robotics?
So again, one more small story related to this. So I was an intern at Waypoint Robotics, and at one normal working day, my boss, he told me like, you know what, we have a competition today at so the company was participating in some like a New Hampshire technology event. So I was like in my like work clothes, not even like work, because I was an intern. So I was wearing the company's t-shirt, and I was like working all day. I was actually also working on hardware back then. So a little bit here and there, some grease on my hand and anything. And he told, okay, we have to go to this event. This is like, it was in some hotel. And we went there with, I had like, so I was the only girl in that team as well. So, but they were very supportive about that. They were very proud of me to be there. And I went there and I was like, this is like a room full of engineers, and I absolutely did not see a lot of women engineers. So when I went in there, they were like, oh, you're a robotics engineer. Oh, you're a girl in robotics engineering. They were pretty shocked. Um, as much as I like it, but I think that was not something to be shocked about. They were not supposed to be shocked about like that I am a girl in robotics engineering. And I just pulled myself up there. I was like, be confident about whatever you are, whoever you are, just go ahead on. I did not have anything like prepared or back then. And I was just very confident about whatever I know. I was just an intern, so I definitely knew less than everyone else in that room. But people were asking questions about whatever the company was working on. And I was still like, I think it's everything is in your head. If you believe that you can do it, you can definitely do it. You don't really need some outer approval to tell you that. And I might be the most less knowledgeable person in that room. Uh, but I think I just believed in myself at that point that, you know what, I can do it. It's okay. Just go ahead, do this thing, and you'll be fine. And even like increasing confidence, I think it also comes with your knowledge, your dedication into the field. If you are, the more you learn, the more you get yourself involved in projects. That obviously helps with your confidence, because now you know that you know something. You are not definitely nothing. So just doing individual projects also built up a lot of confidence in me. Uh, in my first internship, I used to they made me do this entire robot. I was the only robotics engineer there. Everyone else was like an AI engineer or like machine learning and deep learning, and I was only one from the mechanical or the robotics side. So I kind of did that project single-handedly, and that definitely increased my confidence. And especially my senior, my supervisor back then, he was so supportive, and I think that is so important. So if you are a supervisor to a female engineer or someone, it's really important to help these women gain confidence, because we definitely somehow, there are so many women out there who thinks they are not good enough for the role. They are probably not at the right place. So appreciating small things matters. Like, even if you do one small thing, it matters so much. Like, oh, that's great, you did this, so it's a good thing. I think it was great. Just saying these three words would not matter to you much as it would matter the female in front of you, because you told her she did something good. So I think appreciation is very important. I try to do that with whoever I'm working with, especially women. They it's if I go to this, like the schools where I used to teach for robotics, I just saw that these kids get so happy when you just appreciate small things that they did. So I think that is one of the things to like increase confidence of others. And definitely for yourself, you have to just work hard and try to do your best in your field, so you know that you know some things.
Those are some great tips. Thanks for sharing that. So you've talked a lot about volunteering, especially with school-age children. Do you do that through a specific nonprofit? Do you just contact local schools and ask if you can come in and help? How do you do that? How do you find those opportunities?
So unfortunately, I did not get that opportunity over here. I definitely tried. So I would start with something I have over here, I would say. So I went to Women Who Code events when before COVID. So they used to have a lot of events in companies where you meet people. So I met a few people there, and there are they looking for volunteers, like judges for robotics competitions in high schools and colleges. So I tried to do that. Unfortunately, nothing happened. Like I remember someone taking my contact back then, because they were looking for someone to train some women in robotics actually. uh, I don't know, that did not go anywhere, because later COVID came up and that did not happen. But in India, when I used to, I had a small team of me and a couple of my friends, and we used to go to different schools ourselves, like just show up at the door, ask to talk to the principal or anyone authoritative there, tell them our small scheme about like what we are trying to do. And most of them are really supportive. So we actually covered around 40 schools in that year-long period. So we just go in there. We had like a small curriculum built. It was like a one-day workshop, or if they wanted, we can do like a longer one, 2 or 3 days thing. We had created like small kits so that these kids could build up something on their own. Like we had this thing, like we teach them, then they build, and then they run. And that's like the whole day workshop. And we used to also like have a small fee, or depending on the school, if it is it's like not it's a private school, then you're fine with charging them. But other than like public schools, we used to avoid the charge, but the charge was minimal for the kit because that was our investment in that. Other than that, volunteers, I was working with a volunteer nonprofit organization, but they were mostly, they were not for robotics. They used to actually uh, uh, like help underprivileged children, because kids who cannot go to school, so they used to give them small uh, computer education classes so that they can just actually get somewhere, like perform health awareness, like small skits, like plays to stop like drug abuse, or make even awareness about AIDS. So my dad used to do that. He used to help these kids with the whole awareness, and I just got in with him so that I could also be a part of that. But that was a little back in time. Obviously, it's like been a lot of years now. I've not been to there, but yeah, I try to find online these nonprofit organizations, and if not that, it's just go to the school directly for outreach.
I think we had another question come in. How do you keep up with the latest developments in robotics?
That's a good question. Actually, I am pretty much working on it. I also think that I am not up to date. I follow a few Instagram channels. I think it's something called Vvolver. Uh, yeah, so that was a pretty cool one, and built in Boston. We basically Women in Robotics Boston chapter. We have a lot of events, and we actually are in touch with Mass Robotics. Mass Robotics. So their newsletter is kind of a good way to for me to like keep in touch. My friend and my also co-organizer Dharini, she also suggested a few things. There's Robotics Worldwide. It's an email list as well that helps you get more and more about these things. And I think there was one more. Oh yes, and definitely LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like I scroll it through it like every day, like social media, and I just get a lot of stuff from there. I follow different people on there, and to keep it like up to date. But I think I have to like find more. Also, Clubhouse, which I haven't joined yet, but I am planning on doing that. So yeah, that is another suggestion from one of my friends. I'm pretty much working on the whole keeping up to date thing.
Yeah, those sound like some great resources. I definitely see exposed to a lot of new stuff on LinkedIn if you follow some of the like robotics influencers.
I think there's one more called Robotic Business Review. Sorry.
Yes, that's another one. All right, let's see what other questions. So what's the most interesting project you've worked on?
There have actually been a few. Um, I think I mostly did these interesting projects back when I was in college. So we had this freedom to choose your own project, and I don't think it is very big of a deal for everyone over here, but I loved working on drones, and we just did this one project where a drone was trying to capture images of a human while it was, I think there are already products like that now. It's been like a couple of years since I did that project. But so I think that one was my favorite kind of project. So the human standing in between, and we called it aerial cinematography project. So the drone used to like go a 360 around the human to take like a full shot. Not I did it like a group project. We were not completely successful in it, but it was pretty interesting. I want to like do it, make it more efficient and everything. Like and actually get the entire human shot, because it used to go like up and down and not take the face all the time. So the face detection sucked in that, but yeah, it was still nice. I think that's my favorite project until now.
Cool. Sounds like a fun one. So another question from the audience is, can you tell us more about the events you've hosted or plan to host through the local chapter of Women in Robotics? I think you said you're a member of the Boston chapter.
Yes. Me and my friend Harini, we are organizers of the Boston chapter. We started sometime last year. We were supposed to have our first in-person event in March last year. Like COVID came up. So we kind of pushed it into June, but when we saw that it was not happening, we decided to go Zoom. So that's been like our story from there. Like all the events are online and Zoom on it. So the first, like we just did a launch party where we just found different people, like we just like this one. We used to just talk, gave a small presentation. We got a lot of members after that. Then we collaborate with different companies, like local companies, whoever wants to do an event with us. So we previously did an event with Vecna Robotics. So they kind of helped us. They are also our Zoom sponsors, by the way. They just we also get like small sponsorships from. We are open to those, so we have different kinds of sponsorship. Like Vecna helped like our Zoom sponsors, so they are paying for our Zoom account. But other than that, we also have publicity sponsorship. So whenever we have new events, we ask these companies who are interested to publicize our events, because me and Harini are like two people with a few network on LinkedIn. But if we go out there and there's like the company like the founders or CEOs, they have different kinds of a network and they can help us sponsor our event by putting it out there and reaching more people than we can. I think Vecna really helped us in this whole networking part, because of them we found a lot of members, and they are also very supportive until now. We recently also had these events with robotics recruiters. So we saw like when we took a survey, we like put up a Google form online and just took a survey about what people want to see, what Women in Robotics members want to see. And there were so many questions about job search in robotics. And since COVID, it was very hard that people were losing their jobs, and no one was like, it was not easy as before to find a job. So we recently did finding a job in robotics, a two-part event. The part one was just me, my co-organizer Dharini, and one more, Kajal Gada. She's actually she's from Los Angeles, but she is a YouTuber who also makes these videos about finding jobs in robotics, resume building, and everything. So we got her too. She's just like us. She had some experience in robotics as well, and she helped us with this event. So that was part one. So we just gave our opinion on how to find jobs, how to build your resume, what should you expect in technical interviews and everything. And we got a pretty good response on that one. And the latest one, we did it with, we found some recruiters contacting us for, like, it's normally you get messages on LinkedIn about if you're looking for a new job. So we just thought maybe we should use these resources. And we sent them a survey asking, what do you look for in a candidate? What are the important skills and everything? Now we have this all data, which actually I also put it on our WIRB Slack channel. So we just got this data, which we plan on giving out to women to help them find jobs. And we also get like some input about recruiters looking for job and candidates looking, like recruiters looking for candidates and candidates looking for jobs. We just wanted to build this gap. That is our most recent event. And the last one that I would like to say is like, we also got like a few women in robotics Not sure. We had one event with Clara Wu, who is a co-founder of Cere Robotics, and Denila Ruse. She's a professor in MIT. So we had an event with them, just a casual talk with them, asking them questions, kind of an AMA. And then there was one with Leanne Thompson and a professor from Oregon State University as well. So she was, we had this event recently, and it was great. Like it was about underwater robotics, and because Leanne Thompson was, she's the founder of the Aqua AI. So it's a pretty cool company. It's just so we just have these women, great women, inspiring us, get them on the video call, because the good thing about the whole COVID is like people from all over the world can meet like on a Zoom call, which wouldn't have been possible if we were having in-person events. But we, this was definitely a great thing to have them online and talk to us. So that's more or less our events. I'm sorry if I'm missing anything, but
yeah, it sounds like some great programming, and that you've learned some great things. I like the sending the survey to the recruiters to share that information with your members. That sounds very, very valuable.
Yeah. We also have an event with the recent one was with 3 of the women. One of them, she is working in as a recruiter in iRobot. She had like 10 plus years of experience recruiting robotics engineers. That was very valuable. And there were other 2 women, and both recruiters in robotics companies, Optimus Ride and Six River Systems, and they just were so helpful in giving us that information. If you want to see these events, they are all on our YouTube channel, Women in Robotics Boston. So I think all but one, I think we did not have permissions for that, but other than that, it's all out there.
Awesome. And then I guess how many, okay, we have another question come in. What have been some of the challenges you've encountered while building robots?
So this is like the most, it's a funny challenge actually, that the robots that I've built in all my previous career are they have some kind of a stage fright. So, so they work when I am testing on them, but you go on and try to deploy them to do actual work and something in front of people, they don't work. So this is the main challenge that I would say, a simulation versus reality kind of thing. Your robot would work absolutely perfect in simulation, and in reality, it'll be like, I'm not doing anything. So that's something which is funny and really annoying, because you work on it so hard and then you see it's not working. So that's one of it. That is like the major challenge that I always face. So I never underestimate the time and effort it's going to take to make an actual working feature on a robot, because real testing is so much different than simulation. And that is one of the major challenges, I would say. Other than that, coming from mechanical engineering background, before a few years before, I had this thing that I had to go from mechanical engineering to software. So that transition was pretty hard, getting through the whole coding skills, and I'm so glad that I got through it. But this is what we helped with people who are still trying to get into the field, coding challenges, live coding rounds and everything. That is one of the things that I gave so many interviews when I was looking for a job. And I think while building robots, you get these things that, okay, I do this small program, but a job is so much different than actually studying something. So a practical experience, a hands-on experience is so much important. And I think the more you work on robots, the more you try to implement stuff, you get more acquainted with that part. So yeah, programming and simulation versus reality, two of the greatest challenges.
Yeah, I've definitely run into those in my career. Another follow-up question is there any resources you would recommend to use or leverage to get better at coding? Is there any ones that you've come across that are really good?
A couple years back, I used to use HackerRank a lot, but I've heard like Lead Code is pretty good right now. I've not personally used it recently, but I have definitely heard that it's one of the best ones. Other than that, I mostly was trying to learn C++ more. So there's a YouTube channel called the Cherno. That's like, yeah, it's a pretty good one. He basically explains a lot of stuff that goes in the background, which helps you get a deeper like perspective on what's happening in coding. So that's one part of it. The new Boston is good for Python coding. If that's one of them. I think that's mostly it. I would say why in like if you want to go for coding in like coding rounds in general, do solve the timed HackerRank ones, because when they are timed, you know like this is what you have to do in the interviews as well. And practice anything. I used to like make my friend sit in front of me while I used to explain her some stuff on the whiteboard for my whiteboard coding round. So that is like it's even for live coding, I would say. Get a friend to sit in with you on a Zoom call and code. That's like the best, because it's different to code when no one's watching, and it's a totally different story when someone's watching you while you're coding. So yeah, that's like practice is another way to get better.
Yeah, those are some great tips. I've definitely had to leverage stuff like that when I'm in an interviewing phase. I guess, do you have any tips about how to find robotics companies that are hiring? Like, how have you approached past job searches? How have you found different opportunities?
Um, so I was more or less like shoot in the dark kind of person. I did not care. I applied over to like through 200 companies. There was a phase that I was just looking for robotics companies in US, and I applied to anything and everything that I got. LinkedIn and Glassdoor and AngelList and Indeed all are like definitely good sources. But sometimes even there's no opportunity online on that company's website. Do definitely like find out if you can find people in working that company, because maybe they're not actively looking for someone to hire, but they still might be open. So definitely make sure like you put it out there, like, I'm looking for something. Are you hiring? Like, because not everyone is like putting on their websites. Other than that, I had like a list made of companies. So there's this. So I was looking in Massachusetts. There's a New England robotics cluster list online. So that is like the list of different companies, and I just Google them. I just go to their website and find them out. I mean, that's the way. Looking for opportunities other than that is like, I think LinkedIn is pretty good, but robotics opportunities are not as much as like they don't pop out unless you follow the right people. So yeah, that's mostly I just shoot it everywhere, and whatever gets you get it.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you got your current role? You basically applied online and they responded and you were able to interview and all that stuff?
Yeah, definitely. My current role was actually the one, like I looked at the company and I avoided actually applying there because I thought it was too tough for me to get in, and I avoided them for like months. And at the end, I was like, maybe this is it. You know what? Just try. Maybe you will get in, maybe you'll not. So I just tried and I got in, which was pretty surprising to me.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions? Did I miss any questions in the chat? Okay, I see one here. What do you think is going to be the robots of the future?
I'm not sure if I'm the right person to answer this thing, but I think it's more or less like I definitely don't. I don't think I can answer this the right way, but self-driving cars pretty much interests me a lot, and I see them like they are almost there to get it, and it's just like transportation is definitely gonna being taken over by these things. So that's one of it. And recently I also found a few more companies who are so much helpful in delivering medical supplies using drones, which was pretty inspiring and fascinating to me because just imagine like someone calling 911 and they are lack of blood or anything, and they're just transporting these stuff like via drones to save lives. I mean, what could be the better use of robots in future, right? So that's one of them. And other than that, warehouse automation, like definitely, in fact, talking about future, it's currently a big deal. Like everywhere, warehouse automation is there. So I think it also kind of saves the human effort in that place. So that's pretty cool too. I'm currently working on it and I really think it is pretty cool. So yeah, most of the, and I've not been into the field more, but I'm really looking forward for more deep learning to come up in robotics. Like learning robots might be like currently everyone is focused on the like control sides of it, but when robots would be able to learn by themselves, that would be a different story. So I'm just looking forward to that.
Yeah, the deep learning and the artificially AI enabled robots is definitely a very hot portion of the robotics startup ecosystem right now. We're getting close to the end of the time. Does anyone have any last minute questions they would like us to ask? We've been putting questions in the chat. I know, Andrew, you just joined a couple minutes ago. Here's another question. What do you think the biggest challenge of robots ahead?
So biggest challenge is to be around people. I think like people are not familiar with robots, and having robots like be a part of the community, like I would say like, yes, you have a robot vacuum cleaner and everything, but that's just the beginning of it. For the biggest challenge is for people to be able to be comfortable working around robots in warehouses, you could say that, or even like when self-driving car comes out, I'm not sure how many are ready to give up the wheel in the hands of a robot. So I think that's one of the biggest challenge that I think can come up, because the whole human robot interaction part is not easy as it sounds. It's pretty interesting. I mean, but that's one of the challenge. Another good and future robotics thing that I think is robot power sources like batteries or something. I was in this conference somewhere, and we asked a bunch of entrepreneurs like, what do you think is the next best thing? And they gave this idea like battery for robots, like the power source should be more efficient, more easy to like get these things. I don't know what this is the best way to put, but using renewable sources for robots working, and also like having small size and more like less weight for the mobile robots or drones or everything else. So power source for battery or like power source for robots is another field that is challenging currently and will be coming up soon. Yeah, that's more or less like that.
Those are some great points. Does anyone have one last thing, or should we go ahead and wrap up? Well, I've had a great time today, and thank you, Sanjuksha, for all your advice and sharing your experience and sharing your time with us. This has been great, and thank you everyone for joining us and contributing great questions to the discussion.
Thank you so much for having me too. Like, this is great. I'm not sure if I'm the right person. I mean, I've not have so much knowledge. I mean, I'm just the beginning of my career, but this is so nice to have everyone here and like answer whatever questions I could. I'm sorry if I did not get everything, but I'm really looking forward to future AMAs.
Yeah, I think it's valuable for the community to have a variety of speakers, guests for the AMAs. You don't have to be an expert for you. Like, we just had a great hour. You don't have to like have 20 years of experience to be on an AMA. So if you have any friends that want to be featured, let us know. We're working on getting the schedule up. I believe we have the next 2 Saturdays scheduled. I will post all the details in Slack. We will possibly be doing, we have to confirm. I think we're going to keep doing this Zoom format moving forward. And if anyone has any feedback or anything they would like to see from us moving forward, please let us know. And thanks everyone again for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting everyone.
All right.